before, I thought I'd shoot a video, because I don't think I did one yesterday. Yesterday was kind of funny. Went shopping, didn't find what I was looking for. Came here, did some rust repair. Kind of filling time until my order comes tomorrow. Ordered some more parts from AH Spares. So I did this patching along here. Again, this had the funny little curve in it, and this had a nice bend to it. Have it all stitched up. I'm almost out of argon. But last time I ran out, my bottle said that it was empty, but when I took it out, it actually had quite a bit left in it. So I'm gonna use that up today. I have a lot of welds that I've just tacked in. I need to finish those up, use up the bottle, and then tomorrow after my package arrives, I can go get a new bottle of argon. Then I'll be flying on the rest of the week. This morning, I went shopping again, found a bit of what I was looking for. There's somebody who's very concerned about my health and safety, and I think she's been watching Game of Thrones too much, because she keeps saying, the winter is coming. So she said, you have to insulate this place. You have to keep it above freezing so you don't get pneumonia and die. Fair enough. I can't complain against that. So this morning, I went to the hardware store and bought this styrofoam. It's 3 centimeters thick, and I've been applying it to door number 1. So I'm almost done. I ran out of glue at the bottom, so I have to get some more glue. But that should keep me warmer. These other doors, they're a little more tricky. Turns out they both do open, which I didn't think that far one opened, but it does. So I'm gonna do something very different for those, because I still need to have access to it. This one opens flat, so it's easy to stick solid panels on it. These, you have to have something that can get out of the way, and you want it easy to build. So I'll show you later what I got there. Oh, I also have a couple light bulbs to replace. So it's kind of a shop maintenance sort of week, with little bits of the car work getting done. Anyway, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat lunch. Let's talk philosophy. There's this great design philosophy, works for engineering too, called KISS, K-I-S-S, keep it simple, stupid. So I had this great plan to hang this insulating curtain on pivot points so it could roll up and get out of the way when you don't need it. Screwed holes up there, drilled holes, put in pivot points, welded up some hardware. The only problem is that it's just me in the shop, and that's kind of heavy, and if you're on one end of the ladder trying to get the other end to line up, at a 3-meter length, it's too heavy. What I did figure out is that board that this thing is stapled to will just sit up there on top of the garage door. Keep it simple, stupid. Good morning. It's day 46? Yeah, day 46. It also happens to be a special holiday over here. It's St. Nicholas Day. It's a day where, I think, if I get the story right, baby Jesus comes through the streets and fills your shoes full of candy if you leave them by the door and you've been a good boy or girl. I guess I've been a good boy. My stepdaughter made me this and left it in my shoe. So I brought it to work. Thought I'd show it to y'all. Brought some other stuff to work with me. New bottle of gas. Yay. And a new box. This is my latest order from AH Spares. What else I got? some new light bulbs over there. They go up there. I want to get those in before I break them. So I got so many projects I want to do, but I think first I need to finish the insulation. Since I've done this one, I know what I'm doing. Should go a lot faster. Not messing around doing silly stuff I don't need to do. So I'm going to try and get that done. Then I hopefully have all the parts I need to start putting the doors on this thing. That's my plan. I was wrong earlier in the previous segment. It's only day 45, not 46. So I'm looking at the door. I've decided to move over to the passenger door because the driver's door has that big gap at the bottom, which I'm not ready to deal with. So I'm going to having a look at the passenger door. I have the lock plate screwed in, bolted in, and it's attached to the door, so it swings. The door bolted where it goes, and when I close it, it gets me really close to where I need to be, and then I can, adjust this till it lines up just perfectly, and then draw a line where this piece goes. I've done that here. You can see the line, and you see all this extra bit. Let me show you on the original what they did. Here's the original piece. Ooh, it's all crusty. Remember that? Yeah, this is why we're doing this. So, there we go. On the original one, you can see this is that panel. It comes in down here, and right in here, you can see where it comes up. So they created a flange right at the same point that the this locking, I should look up the name for this, where the lock goes, where that plate goes. So the locking plate spot welds in several places, and then this welds to that piece. So I'm going to try to, I have marked the line where this is. I'm going to add probably, I think that's like a 1/2 inch, and then form this bend so it will be just like the original, and weld that. Then I have this piece. I've ordered a new one. I screwed up and should have ordered 2, but I'll order another one with my next order. This will be able to weld on afterwards. I thought this would go on first, but I thought it would weld directly to that, but no, it doesn't. It'll go on later. So my next step is to make sure this panel is properly situated. I may even spot weld it and tack it in a couple places. Then make sure I got the line along here really, really good. And then form this bend. It's all kind of scary. Yesterday I was off. I stayed home. I was getting parts for the. I had a big parts order come in, and so I was doing my research. I was watching the great video series. Oh man, I'm gonna lose his name now. I can't think of it. There's this great video series. A guy doing a 106 in New Zealand. Anyway, he's done like 52 videos over 2 years, very detailed. It also happens to be a Old English white with a red interior, which kind of gives me clues to where I'm going. I can't believe I'll put a link down here somewhere to his stuff, because it's well worth watching if you haven't come across it yet. It's been out there a lot longer than my stuff has, and it's a complete series, which is really cool. Anyway, I got distracted. I was watching his part where he was putting the doors in, and the frustrations he had. Getting the door gap is nearly impossible on these cars. Maybe they were good at the factory. I don't know. There's not a lot of places to adjust them. So once things are in place, they're in place. And when you put the engine in, you got all that weight going down here, and it makes the frame bow. And when the bottom bows, it tilts in, and mostly this side, tilts this in to the point where it pinches at the top. And that's what I'm going to need to try to avoid at all costs, is this door gap pinching. Probably what I'm going to need to do is drop it down onto jack stands and put the engine in. I thought I could get away without it, but after watching his frustration getting his doors lined up, I don't want to take that sort of risk. And the engine goes in and out pretty easy. It's especially with everything off the front, it'll drop in there probably within an hour. Of course, when I do that, I lose the flexibility of flipping things around, but it will give me the correct position for the doors. So that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, and I think I need to do that before I can draw this line. And so I can tack this piece in, but I can't finish weld it because of folding the seam over. You see, they left plenty of material for me. There's probably 2 inches of material there. So, once it's cut down, about 1.5 inches. But yeah, that'll come off and fold up. I don't think I can do that with it on the car. Maybe I could if this part wasn't tacked down. If it was just tacked down here, up here, and back here, that would hold it in place while I do this. And also with the engine in place, I'm going to probably get some flexing. Something to think about. I'm kind of just using you as my rubber ducky. Do you know that concept? It's a software development tool. When you have a problem and you have a bug that you need to fix in your software, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, you get a rubber ducky, literally, and put it on your desk, and you explain to the rubber ducky, like a child or a rubber ducky, what your program is and what it's trying to do and what it's not doing. And by explaining it in very simple terms, you often end up solving the problem. Going, oh, I should just do this. Anyway, that's it. That's my wife uses me as her rubber ducky quite a bit. I don't understand what's going on at her work, so she explains it to me in very simple terms. Anyway, off topic, funny stuff. I think my next step is to tack weld this in place, and then put it down on jack stands and put the engine in it. It's really going to slow things down. I was hoping to start sandblasting before Christmas, but I don't see how that's going to happen. Well, step one's done. It's on jack stands now. Step 2, put that monster back in. Then we'll see what it does to the frame. Okay, I want you to witness this. I'm going to measure from this point here over to this point here before the engine goes in. Then I'll measure it again after the engine's in to see how much flex there is. Let's give it a shot. Move you a little closer. And down a bit. Believe it or not, it's almost exactly on 70. You see that? No, not so well. You're gonna have to trust me then. Almost exactly maybe half a millimeter under 70. Okay, so I got the engine up. There's a new problem though. The hoist, where this goes, it's like a rectangle piece of steel with a ball on a wheel on the top, and it's old, and with that much weight on it, it doesn't want to roll. And the car, being on jack stands, doesn't want to roll. Last time I did this, the car was still had its suspension, so it could roll. This time it doesn't. What I'm thinking about doing is lowering the car onto, I have a furniture dolly, put it on that, and slide it back, then bring the engine down. I can take the weight off the top, then slide it over a bit, take the weight, and it'll pick the engine up and it'll kind of pivot over, put it down, do that a couple times to get it in position. Then get it up in the air and use furniture dolly to push the car frame back in place. Much bigger pain in the than I expected. No, it's always about problem solving, isn't it? So now I have the front end on the furniture dolly and the back end on the floor. Wow. I can actually pick up the back end. It's a bit heavy, but it's okay. So I can lift it enough to scoot it forward and stuff. So now I lowered the engine all the way to the ground, pulled the top part over, lifted it up, it swung over, lowered it, did that 3 times to get it as close to the end of the gantry, that's the word I was looking for, as I can. And then now I have it lifted up. Next part is scoot the car forward, put it up on jack stands again. Because I'm thinking once the engine's in place, I'm not going to be able to pick it up anymore. I don't know, just a guess. I haven't been working out much lately. So that's where I am. I'm not sure how much further I'm going to get today because it's kind of late. And I have a rehearsal tonight. Anyway, keep going. Well, good morning. Today is day 46. I didn't get to shoot a video yesterday evening, I don't think. I don't remember. I was going very quickly. I had the engine way high up in the air and I wanted to get it closer to the ground before I left for the day. I had a deadline because I had a rehearsal to go to. So this is where I left it off. The engine's still suspended by the come along. My plan is to put it in place, bolt it on in a couple places. I'm not going to go crazy. And then get it up on the jack stands, put the jack stands approximately where the suspension is, and then remeasure that gap where the door goes and see how much flex there is. I might add some weight to where the seats go to simulate passengers. Some of that weight might be my very own. This is the plan for the morning. Let's see what happens. got her up on jack stands. Added some weight to the passenger side. 50 kilograms of blast media. That's the heaviest thing in the shop besides me and the engine. With me standing in the driver's side, which is like the first time I've done this with the new floor. So, it always feels weird trusting your own work. Okay, so let's measure this, see where we are, see what moved. And it looks like it has moved. Get that right on where it was. No. It's still right at 70. So, a couple options. A, I've wasted all my time. The other option, sit down and back. That feels weird too. Who would sit back here? The second option is what I've read is that people get their car done, take it out for a first drive it pretty hard, and come back and the doors don't open. So that there might be some additional G-forces or bumps in the road that cause the frame to settle in. Maybe it just hasn't settled in yet. I'm sure I've added with all the work I've done on the floor, I've strengthened it a lot, but it's nice to see it hadn't moved, right away. I'll give you that, but still kind of scared. Maybe I'll give it a while to settle in. I have taken all the weight off the come along, so the engine's sitting fully on the car, and the jack stands are in the position of the suspension. So, funny stuff. Let's let it set for a while and see what happens. Well, it came down. You couldn't see it in the time-lapse video I just showed, but the last foot got a little scary. I had this mounted to the generator bracket, which is, I measured it at 8 millimeters, but I guess it's cast. Anyway, I found its weak point right here. It broke off and dropped at the last foot. Most of it landed on the wood of the pit, which is good. Most of the weight really just shifted to the back here. Transmission stayed off the ground. The oil pan was crushed already. So it's probably not any better than it was. Scary moment. I had no idea. I thought that was a very strong point there. I guess I was wrong. Luckily it did that when it was, close to the ground and not up above the chassis. That'd be a lot worse. It's Friday afternoon. I've already cleaned the shop. See, my recycling bins are all clean. Floor's clean, mostly. Since it's Friday and I keep procrastinating, I don't want to do it yet. I'm looking for something else to do besides stick this door on. So, remember this guy? This is a spring that I couldn't get the back off of, this bolt here. So I ended up just cutting off the whole the whole outrigger, it was being replaced anyway. But now, I thought, since it's off and I'm looking for something to do, I could just cut on it a bit and see what I can do. I'll make some slices on this, take the outrigger out, and then I'll see what I can do about the bolt. Put you over here where it's safe. Now the outrigger can go in the new recycling bin. Newly cleaned recycling bin. Yeah, head was a little harder than I thought. I imagine that with that seized in there, there's a rubber bushing. When I was beating on it, it was just bouncing on the bushing. But now that it's out of the car, let's see what I can do to it. Need like a hydraulic press, push on it with like 20 tons of force. Oh well, at least the outrigger's out, off. Maybe I could use the vise as a hydraulic press. Let's see what I can do. Have a look, get you a little closer. Oops. So, let's go on here. I'll put it in the vise, and when it squeezes, it's going to push this bolt that way. That's the plan. Let's see what happens. Might break the vise. When I was a kid, my dad bought a new vise. Wasn't an expensive one, but the jaw here was it's cast iron. But I don't know, we were tightening something up and it snapped. Took it to work and a friend of his welded it up. I think he's still using it. Oh, look at that, it's moving. Oh, I like that very much. See? Got it to move. Now we can put some other stuff on there to push it on through. Cool. Not bad for a Friday afternoon. Well, I moved it a bit more. I'm going to stop there for today though. Eventually that'll be taken off and this whole thing will be sandblasted. I have new bushings for that and a new thingy. We'll just go with thingy. It's Friday afternoon and I don't have the words. If you like this video, click the like button below. If you want to come along on the ride as we complete this project, click the subscribe button. If you want to make sure Google reminds you every time there's a new video, click the alarm bell. Your support is very much appreciated.